Type fives are often called the investigator or the observer. They are very analytical. They love making sense of the world. They love acquiring knowledge. And because they can get lost in their thoughts, the first mental health tip I gave for fives in my video is to get in touch with their emotions rather than focusing solely on acquiring more head knowledge or continually analyzing everything around them or in the world. Utilizing a feelings wheel can be super helpful for all types, but especially type fives who can really struggle to know what they're feeling. The second mental health tip I gave for fives is it's really more of a question to consider frequently. So I think fives with their mental health can really benefit by asking themselves, whose life is flourishing because I keep giving my life away? That's a great question for fives to ask because fives can have a tendency to hoard their time, their gifts, their talents, and their resources. And so fives asking themselves this question can really help their mental health because it helps them realize that they're connected to others and that other people need the great gifts and just the talents and just the character and the great things that they offer the world. So that can really help not only themselves flourish, but their friends and loved ones flourish as well. So that's what I have for fives. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, when fives are battling mental health, they can think that life is meaningless. So at their worst, fives may experience psychotic breaks with reality or
Mhm.
just conclude that life is meaningless. Uh, Coping with existential questions and finding purpose can be overwhelming for them, which, affecting their mental well-being. Another thing I've noticed and I've heard from fives is they can struggle with obsessive tendencies. So they can develop obsessive tendencies such as excessive researching, excessive analyzing, accumulating information, and they can't stop accumulating more information. So this behavior, like driven by a desire to always feel uber prepared and competent and secure, can become compulsive and it can
Wow.
interfere with their daily functioning and pulling the trigger on projects that they need to get done or want to do, but feel like they can't because they're not, competent enough to do it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, social pressure and anxiety is a big one for fives. So fives often
Mm,
struggle with the social pressure to engage with groups, especially in the church world. Right, fives is
yeah.
the
Yep.
church world, evangelical world is not a comfortable place with the social pressures that come with that, and they may have a diagnosed or undiagnosed social anxiety disorder. So the
Wow.
need to withdraw and protect themselves can hinder their ability to navigate social interactions. So I
Wow.
know that that's something that fives need to be aware of is, they might have a diagnosed or undiagnosed social anxiety disorder. And, it's something to pay attention to if you feel yourself really uncomfortable in small groups, around large crowds, and it's something to give your give yourself empathy for and then share that struggle with others so they can have empathy for you and not just put all this pressure on you to do all this stuff. If that
Wow.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, your last point is fascinating in itself. Just, potentially, just being aware of possibly having social anxiety. The first one really resonated with me. I'm a type 2, but I have diagnosed obsessive compulsive disorder. So
Mm.
hearing you say that about fives, that makes me want to get to research. I'd be curious to see if that's a pretty common connection, having
Mm.
struggling with OCD with, being an Enneagram 5. That's fascinating. You
And
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad that you
bringing
brought
that
that
up.
up. And I'm thankful that you shared that because not you can't, Claudio Naranjo, who came up with the Enneatypes, went through the DSM and started to overlay uh, some of his knowledge of psychiatry
Yeah,
with each Enneagram type. And you can't you can't cleanly say, okay, this type struggles with this disorder, this type struggles with this disorder. But there are some types that struggle with a certain disorder more than others, and so
sure.
it's good in terms of probabilities, not absolutes. So there's a high
Absolutely.
probability for fives that they may struggle with social anxiety disorder. So pay attention to that. It may not be absolutely true of you, but something to pay attention to.
Oh, that's excellent. Good stuff.